Good morning, Madam Chair and members. As a former educator today, I am proud to present SB 443, an important bill that will expand funding to transitional kindergarten students. Transitional kindergarten was established in 2013 as a way to serve children who were otherwise left out of the school when the entry age for kindergarten was changed. Unlike other pre-kindergarten programs that are available, TK programs require fully credentialed, certified teachers who have bachelor's degrees. Students in TK also benefit from an emphasis on socialization, mental health skills, important issues that are absent from other programs. Research shows that TK has a positive academic outcome for students who participate. TK has also been proven effective for all students who participate, with even greater impacts on language skills for English language learners and mathematical skills for low-income students. The state provides funding for TK students who are born between September 2nd, December 2nd, just as they do for kindergarten. However, students in TK who are born December 3rd or later only generate funding after their 5th birthday. While some school districts are able to backfill the funding shortfalls with their general fund, this is not realistic for all school districts. This has created a funding shortfall, once again, and disincentivizes school districts from enrolling students who have their 5th birthday in the later part of the school year. SB 443 would allow, but not mandate, school districts to expand their TK program. This bill will provide funding for students who are enrolled in TK and have their 5th birthday, once again, after December 2nd cutoff. By allowing school districts to collect average daily attendance for students who turn 5 after December 2nd, TK would expand in areas that are not able to afford this rich instructional program. Madam Chair and members of the committee, today I would like to introduce two witnesses who would like to offer their testimony on this important issue. Karen Manship, Principal Researcher at the American Institute for Research, and Dr. Charles Hinman from West Covina Unified School District. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Rubio. Please proceed. You each have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Chuck Hinman. I'm in my 5th year of superintendent in the West Covina Unified School District. I'd ask for your understanding. I'm a little under the weather, so if you'll bear with me on that. Approximately 4 years ago, we had a neighboring school district that was unable to continue their daycare program. And our school board wanted to offer up our TK program as a solution for some of our community members. So they decided, and I will tell you at the time our budget was healthy for a school district. So we decided to allow all comers who would turn 5 in the previous school year to come into our TK. What we didn't realize is that our TK would grow by 60%. So we took an additional 60% of students in that didn't qualify for the full year funding. Obviously, this became a burden on our school district. We were able to carry it for 3 years. But unfortunately, we've had to now build a waiting list for the following year. We can no longer supplant the younger students. Now, in our mind, you know, I will tell you, I've shared this story with superintendents across the state, and I think we're all pretty much on the same field. It doesn't make sense to us that you have half of a class of students that's going into kindergarten the following year that's allowed to have TK and the prep work going into kindergarten, yet we're denying the other half of that class that's going into the same classroom the following year, but is denied TK because we don't have the funding for it, our limited funding. I'm sure you're going to hear some results very shortly. The TK program is a quality program. It's credentialed teachers. It has a base curriculum. I can tell you from personal experience, our parents, our community are thrilled to have that opportunity. And I hope in the future I won't have to build that waiting list because it's very disruptive to our community. I tell you, the last thing I will close with is the old adage, and I understand how it worked with our own board and our own budgets. There's an old adage by superintendents that say, you know, a school board can do anything they want. They just can't do everything. So I concede that to the committee. I realize that there are challenging entities for funding. But we're talking about an effective program that shows significant results, and it should be open to the entire class of 5-year-olds going into kindergarten rather than just half. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Next witness.
Hey, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Karen Manship. I'm a principal researcher at American Institutes for Research. With our AIR team, I led the statewide study of transitional kindergarten from 2014 through 2016, and I'd like to share some of what we found to inform your consideration of this bill. The study compared outcomes in kindergarten for kids who were age eligible for kindergarten, so those born before December 2nd, to kids who were similar in age but just missed the age cutoff for TK, most of whom attended another center-based pre-K program. This is a very rigorous design for a study. It included over 6,000 students throughout the state. We found that attending TK gives students a 3-month learning advantage over their non-TK peers in math skills at kindergarten entry. TK also showed an impact on students' literacy skills, putting them ahead of their non-TK peers by 6 months at kindergarten entry, and showing a persisting effect at the end of the year. A recent study by Chris Doss at RAND, comparing the TK program to other preschool programs in San Francisco Unified, came to similar conclusions. We also found that there was no difference in children's social skills as rated by teachers between TK and comparison group students. TK has a particularly strong impact, as the Senator mentioned, on some students who make up a really large portion of our student body in California. We saw very positive effects on English language skills for English learners and also on math skills for low-income students. One of the interesting things that we noted in this study was that variations in the specific elements of TK, so small changes in teacher-child ratios, classroom observation ratings, or use of particular instructional strategies such as small groups, did not change the impact that TK had for students. So we think this may be because the elements that TK classrooms all have in common, for example, location at elementary schools that may facilitate transitions into kindergarten, certificated and well-educated teachers, the majority of whom taught kindergarten before, and also non-means tested classrooms where children of all income levels can attend together, may be the main drivers of the program's impact. So the study focused on children in the current TK age window, not younger children such as those who are served in ETK programs. But because we see strong and consistent impacts of TK for children with these winter birthdays, we believe that this suggests that developmentally appropriate and responsive ETK programs may also have a positive impact for younger children as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Additional witnesses in support.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Jeff Valka, representing the Riverside County Superintendent of Schools, in support.
Thank you.
Enrique Rocha with the Los Angeles Unified School District in support.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members. Ron Rapp on behalf of the California Federation of Teachers in support.
Good morning, Jennifer Baker with the California Teachers Association in support.
Additional witnesses in support? Is there any opposition to the bill? Seeing and hearing none, we'll bring it back to the committee. Yes, Senator Chang.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. First off, I want to thank Senator Rubio for your leadership on this. I've actually previously asked to be a co-author, and hopefully I can be added on in the very near future. I've talked to quite a few people about transitional kindergarten, and it is incredibly beneficial for closing the achievement gap at a young age. So again, I want to commend you on this bill, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Chang. Senator Pan.
Thank you. And first of all, Senator Rubio, I appreciate that that what you're trying to do in terms of getting more funding and support for school districts for transitional kindergarten. I guess I did have a question. Well, we didn't have someone coming up to testify. I know that there's some concern in the child care community about this. And can you just speak perhaps to conversations with the child care community about, so basically I think the concern is that we're moving TK to younger and younger ages. And you know, as a pediatrician, and I know you're as a teacher, you understand that, you know, children are on a developmental curve, right? So the focus of their experience may shift depending on what age. So we know high quality preschool certainly has very strong results and so forth. But I want to be sure that as we're, you know, this interface between sort of early childhood development and child care and TK is something that we want to be sure we're trying to get right. So I want to support what you're trying to do in terms of being sure school districts get more money to help support their TK program, but also just want to touch on this the interface and interaction between early childhood education and TK. So can you perhaps address any conversations you've had about that?
Thank you, Dr. Pan, for your question. And we do have information about that. I'm going to defer to our experts here to discuss their interaction and the effects on developmentally ready children. Please.
Thank you, Senator. I'm just going to refer back to my quick comment, which is I agree with you about developmental ages, but I also want to remind that that cohort of kindergartners is all going together. So we are separating half into a different program versus the TK, and we believe the TK is very strong. But I'm going to ask Denise Knudsen, who oversees our TK program in the West Unified School District, just to briefly discuss what training the TK teachers have to help facilitate that question.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Senator. That's a good question. I know that you're aware that our TK teachers are required to have 24 units of early childhood education, and we do use the preschool California framework. They are trained in that, as well as many developmental aspects of the program. So the rigor doesn't really come in until much later. When you walk into our TK classrooms, they look very much play-based and developmental, very different from what many of even our kindergarten classrooms look like.
And just want to be clear that, I understand that the teachers who are involved in TK do have a particular focus on these issues, so that's not so much the direct concern. I think we're looking at how this interface happens, and so that's why I want to be sure that we're having conversations with the early childhood educators, the child care folks, about exactly how we're putting these pieces together and recognizing that actually oftentimes many of the students that you work with, this was their best option too. This is what their parents chose and so forth, and you're not getting funded for it. So we want to be sure that school districts get the support. Same time, I'll tell you that in some of the other roles I've had, we've had conversations about what are standards for like physical facilities that we're requiring and differences between that. We've had, I appreciate what you said about education. So just, I want to be sure that that conversation is happening as this bill is rolling forward, because this bill, I support the intent of the bill, but I also think that there's a conversation that needs to happen in relation to be sure this bill is successful that I'm not quite hearing about yet. So I appreciate all of you being here, and you're sort of representing the one side, but I'm not hearing so I'm hearing from some of the folks on the, I want to say other side. It's not like, there's a fight, but that how that comes together. So I think as the bill rolls forward, I think for it to be, I'd like to see that to be sure that conversation is taking place. Now, if they're not coming to the table, that's a whole nother story. But I want to be sure that some of these issues are worked out as it moves forward. No.
Thank you, Dr. Pan, and I completely understand your concern, and I appreciate you making those comments, and I will continue to have conversations. It's not like we want to leave anybody out of the conversation.
And I want to say that I know that I have a lot of faith in you that you will have those conversations.
Thank you, and I can just tell you from personal experience, being in the kindergarten classroom myself at one point, assistant principal at another point, just understanding that at least in our areas, I come from LA Unified School District as well, a lot of parents just don't take advantage of the early childhood education programs. They just will not send them to school. And I can tell you with certainty that I, as a teacher, saw the difference between the students that were in TK versus the ones that just started in kinder. But I will definitely continue to have those conversations. But thank you for your concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Rubio. Would you like that to be your close, or would you like to close?
Thank you. Thank you to the panel for coming out here today, and thank you to the members for hearing me today. But just want to close with expanding TK will help eliminate the achievement gap, especially in our lower income communities. SB 443 would ensure that all students, regardless of their birthday, will be treated equally for purposes of funding. For these reasons, I respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.